This is a sledgehammer, and this is a piece of railroad track. And today I will be showing you inexpensive, easy to obtain objects that you can use in the place of an anvil. The first object that I tried using was a sledgehammer. And to do this, I mortised out a hole into my stump for the sledgehammer to sit into. I was actually rather amazed just how well the sledgehammer worked. My mounting system wasn't perfect, but there's certainly a lot of potential here as a viable option. Additionally, having been designed for heavy impact, the sledgehammer face showed little wear after having been used as an anvil. Next, I took a section of railroad track and I mounted it onto my stump with some screws to keep it from bouncing around. This also deadens the ring a little bit. The piece of railroad track worked really well too, and was probably my favorite of everything that I tried. The downside of it was due to its shape, it rang a lot louder than most of the others, and I definitely wouldn't recommend using a piece any bigger than what I am unless you had a very good way of mounting it, as larger pieces will act even more like a tuning fork and will ring even louder when you hit them. Now before I continue, I want to briefly explain what my goal is with this video. My hope is that I can show you that you don't necessarily have to go and buy an anvil when you're just starting with blacksmithing, and that you may have something lying around the house or something you can get rather inexpensively that will substitute as an anvil for the time being. I get asked fairly often, what do I need to get in order to start blacksmithing? And my answer is, you need a forge, you need a hammer, and you need an anvil. And hopefully this video will give you some ideas on how to cost effectively obtain an anvil so that you can start blacksmithing right away. The next thing that I tried was I drove a railroad spike into my stump and I put a piece of wood under it in order to support it up at a higher level and also so I could get it out. This was by far my least favorite of all of the things that I tried. The problem was there just wasn't enough mass there, so every time you hit it, it was like hitting a trampoline and it would bounce all over the place, but it wouldn't really do anything. So this I do not see as a viable option. Following that disappointment, I then went to my next item, which was just a block of steel that I picked up at a scrapyard. It worked rather well, however, not being fastened down, it bounced all over the place whenever I tried to hit it. So what I did was I took and put it into the mortise where I had previously put my hammer, and that really cut down on the bounce, which made it work very well. Finally, I also tried using a railroad plate. This had the distinction of being by far the loudest of the options. However, it didn't offer too much in exchange. If you are someone who really wants to get their feet wet in blacksmithing, but right now you're either not wanting to or can't shell out the cost to get a good anvil, then either a piece of railroad rail or just a block of steel or even a sledgehammer head, any of those would give you enough that you'd be able to open the door into blacksmithing and still have a lot of fun. And that would help you better realize what you need to get at a later date. I think it's also important to note that there's a lot of improvements that can be made upon what I did. My mounts were pretty haphazard and put together rather quickly. If you mounted these better, they would give you a lot more rebound and you would have a lot better transfer of energy. Also, they should be mounted a little higher off the ground. When I did this, they were real low and I had to bend over really far just to use them. You definitely want to make them higher than I